Hello and welcome to Chapter 9, Lesson 7. Yes, we did skip Lesson 6. Today we're going to be learning about subtracting unlike fractions. Subtracting unlike fractions is similar to adding unlike fractions. Okay, so we should have a little bit of background knowledge here. So let's get started. Now, for today's lesson, I did put a lot of examples because I really want you to be good at adding and subtracting fractions. So please, please, please follow along. Write down my work that I'm writing down and make sure you're really understanding. All right, let's get started. A female Cuban tree frog can be up to 5/12 of a foot long. A male Cuban tree frog can be up to 1/4 of a foot long. How much longer is the female Cuban tree frog than the male? Okay, so let's do our 10 and 2 strategy. So a Cuban tree frog can be 10 feet long, and a male can be 2 feet long. How much longer is the female than the male? I'd take 10 minus 2, right? I mean, we know that because we're subtracting fractions today, so that's like all we're going to do, but I think that 10 and 2 strategy really helps out to figure, am I adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Okay, so I have 5/12 minus 1/4. I cannot just subtract because they do not have common denominators. So I'm going to write equivalent, like fractions, using the least common denominator. So if I look at 12 and 4, let's count by 4, 8, 12, hopefully you predicted where that was going. 12 is where they intersect, so 12 is the denominator I'm going to be going for. So I ask myself, what do I have to multiply 12 by to get it to equal 12? You're correct, it already is 12. Okay, so let's look at 4. What do I have to multiply 4 by to get it to equal 12? Here you can see their work. They're multiplying by 3/3. So then 5/12 stay the same. 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. So now I just have to do 5/12 minus 3/12. Okay, so 5 minus 3 is 2/12. Now, don't forget to simplify. Notice that on your test that some of you forgot this last step. You do all the work and then you don't simplify at the end, so then you get it wrong. So always ask yourself, do I need to simplify? Yes, I can. I can divide the numerator and the denominator by 2 to get 1/6. 1/6. Female Cuban tree frog is 1/6 of a foot longer than the male. Use benchmark fractions to check, since 1/6 is less than 1/2. Your answer is reasonable. Now, here's what I'm going to say. How much is 1/6 of a foot? Well, I know there's 12 inches in 1 foot. Okay, so if I divide those 12 inches into 6 equal parts, I would get that each, so 1/6 of a foot is 2 inches. So that it's 2 inches longer. Interesting. All right, so just like this, 5/12 of a foot is 5 inches. 1/4 of a foot is 3 inches. All right, let's move on. Jessie finished half of her homework. Lakshmi finished 4/5 of her homework. How much more homework did Lakshani finish than Jessie? Okay, let's take a peek here. So we have to figure out, well, we're going to estimate using benchmark fractions here. 4/5 minus 1/2. 4/5 is about 1. Half is about, you guessed it, a half. So our answer should be right around a half. This is just kind of to make sure that we're calculating correctly. So here we go. I need to get common denominators, find out what my least common denominator is between 5 and 2. Notice I just took my denominators there. 5. 2 does not go into 5. 10. Oh, yep, 2 does go into 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's where they intersect. So I need both denominators to be a 10 in order to subtract them. So you can see here I'm going to multiply 5 by 2 and 4 by 2 to get 8 tenths. And 2 by 5 and 1 by 5 to get 5 tenths. 8 tenths minus 5 tenths. I just do 8 minus 5 is 3 tenths. The 10 does not change. Notice that, please. So look, Lakshani finished 3 tenths more of her homework than Jessie. So now is 3 tenths about a half? Well, I know that 5 tenths is 1/2, and 3 tenths isn't far away, so yeah. 3 tenths is about a half. Let's move on. Here we go. Now is where I get to show you how I want to see your work. So please pay very close attention here. So I have 3/8 minus 1/4. I'm going to find the LCD, least common denominator, between 8 and 4. I'm hoping we're getting real good at this so you can know that the LCD is 8, because you know that 4 goes into 8, right? We can't go any smaller than 8. So I'm going to keep 8 the same, 3/8. And I need to multiply 4 by 2 to get it to be an 8. I got to do the same thing in the numerator. So I'm going to get 2/8. So 3/8 minus 2/8 is equal to 1/8. 1/8. It's in simplest form. Look at, they always write that up there. So there should never be an excuse for you to not write simplest form. Let's take a peek at this one. Describe the steps you can use to find 3/4 minus 1/2. Let's just do it. 3/4 minus 1/2. Now, I know that 2 goes into 4, so I'm going to multiply by 2 to get 2/4. So now I'm doing 3/4 minus 2/4. 3 minus 2 is 1. 4 remains on the bottom. Notice 4, 4, 4, because the size of the piece is not changing. So if I were to draw a picture of this particular problem right here, it would be like, okay, there is 3/4 of the pizza left. Let's see, I'm going to say, Eben came and ate 2/4 of the pizza. Eben ate 2. 1, 2. How many pieces of pizza are left? 1/4 of the pizza is left. See how that works? So let's do another. Like I said, lots of examples for this one because I really want you to be good at it. 1/2 minus 1/4. Okay, so I need to multiply by 2, so that I can get both fractions to have a denominator 4. Then I'm going to multiply my numerator. Keep that. So 2/4 minus 1/4 is equal to 1/4. And it's simplest, in its simplest form. Let's do the next one. 7/8 minus 1/4. I know that 4 goes into 8, so I'm going to multiply my second one by 2. So then I'll get 7/8 minus 2/8, which would equal 5/8. And that is in its simplest form. So 5/8 is going to be my answer. Let's do the next one in green for fun. 7/12 minus 1/6. Multiply by 2, because I know that 6 can become 12. So I'm going to be doing 7/12 minus 2/12. 7 minus 2 is 5. Well, I should be able to write it there. 5, and then our denominator stays the same and is 12. 5/12. Look it, I did my work in Gator colors. Cool. All right, I have more problems. Let's keep working. I wanted to do some harder word problems. We really get into the nitty-gritty of this. So let's go. Can't read it. There we go. The average rainfall in April and October for Springfield is shown in the table below. How much more rain falls on average in April than in October? So that means I'm going to take April minus October. So I need to do 11/16 minus 3/8. Okay, so to get my common denominator of 16 here, I'm going to multiply by 2, multiply by 2. This one's already 16, so I'm just going to bring it down. 11/16 minus 3 times 2 is 6. 8 times 2 is 16. 8/16. So now I just need to do 11 minus 6, and that would give me 5/16. So now this is a word problem, so we need to make sure we're doing 5/16 inches of rain. For our answer here. Don't forget your label. All right, let's go to the next one. Trisha helped clean up her neighborhood by picking up plastic. She collected 3/4 pound of plastic on the first day, 1/6 a pound of plastic on the second day. How much more trash did she collect the first day than the second day? Okay, so I'm going to be doing 3/4 minus 1/6. Now notice, this is not a simple times 2 type of deal here, because 4 times 2 does not get me to 6. So I'm going to have to pull out my old friend, the least common denominator, and find what is the least common denominator between 6 and 4. Let's count by 6s. 6, 12. Oh, I think we found it. Because I know that 4 also goes up to 12. There it is. So I need to multiply 6 by 2 to get 2/12. And I need to multiply 4 by 3 to get 9/12. If I subtract, 9 minus 2 is equal to 7/12. Okay, and that's simplified. So I'm going to say 7/12 pound. How much more trash did she collect? Well, I would not be calling plastic trash. That is recyclable. Let's just do 7/12 pound of plastic, because why not? Let's be specific here. Okay, let's try another. Wyatt is hiking a trail that is 11/12 mile long. Now that's about 1 mile, isn't it? After hiking 1/4 of a mile, he stops for water. He continues hiking another 1/6 of a mile and stops to rest. How much further must he hike to finish the trail? Ooh, this is a multi-step problem here. So I've got a couple options. I could add 1/6 and 1/4 together and then subtract it from 11/12. But since we're practicing subtracting today, I could do subtracting 1/4 and then subtract 1/6. So why don't we do that? So I'm going to do 11/12 minus 1/4. I know 4 goes into 12 if I multiply it 3 times, so I have to do the same to the numerator. So now I'm working with 3/12 and 11/12. So if I subtract, 11 minus 3 equals 8/12. Now, yes, 8/12 can be simplified. So let's do that. Let's divide by 2, and simplify it. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 4/6. Now look how convenient that is, you guys. Because look it, I need to subtract 1/6 from 4/6. I don't even have to get common denominators because they already are. So let's just do the easy peasy work of subtracting. 4 minus 1 is 3/6. Now, should I write my answer as 3/6? No, you're right. I shouldn't, because it's not simplified. I can divide both 3 and 6 by 3. Look at that. And get 1/2. So, how much farther must he walk? He still has 1/2 mile further to walk. He's got a ways. Alrighty, let's keep moving on. One more problem to do here. Here's the test practice. This table shows the distance each student ran on Wednesday. How much farther did the student who ran the greatest distance? Ooh, they're making it tricky. We have to figure out the biggest fraction compared to the student who ran the least distance. Okay, here we go. When I'm looking at 1/6, I'm envisioning a pizza cut into 6 pieces and I eat 1. How much would that take up? Not a whole lot. 1/4. Now that's bigger though, right? Like, let me picture this here. So I've got really 3 pizzas. Okay, this one's going to be cut into 6 equal pieces and I'm going to eat 1. And this one's going to be cut into 4 equal pieces and I'm going to eat 1. Okay, so this is what I'm envisioning in my head here. Hopefully they're a little bit more equal than my drawings, but now this one's going to be cut into 3 equal pieces and I'm going to eat 2. So which one's the biggest? You're right, 2/3 is the biggest, so I'm going to put a B by it. And 1/6, I should write this down, sorry. 1/6 and 1/4. 1/6 is the smallest. So if I take 2/3 minus 1/6, because I have to subtract the biggest from the smallest. Sorry, the smallest from the biggest. Now, I notice that I can make 3 a 6 by just multiplying by 2. And then I don't have to touch the 1/6. So I would get 4/6 minus 1/6 equals 3/6. But wait a minute, 3/6 is not an option for me to choose. Oh, that's right, because I forgot to simplify. So what would happen if I divide, wait a minute, 3 doesn't divide by 2, but does divide by 3. If I divided them both by 3, I would get 1/2. Now look at that. Here's an option, 1/2. Yes, we did it. Thanks for watching the whole video. You rock. And I'll see you tomorrow.